So we're back at our unit 0 notes, and this is the last thing that we did in our last class was function notation. And this was a lot like the warm-up we just went over. So when we're plugging in, if we want to find f of 3, that means you plug 3 in for the x's on just the right-hand side, okay? So that's our function notation. All right, so if you can do that, let me give you a similar example. Now, let's say we said that f of x is equal to 2x minus 1, and we want to find f of negative 3. Okay, so f of x equals 2x minus 1, find f of negative 3. So can we just figure out what is being asked? What's being asked is take negative 3 and plug it in for x in the equation part, so in the right-hand side. That's all we're going to do is plug in 2 times negative 3 minus 1. I don't do anything with this side of the equal sign, okay? I'm only plugging it into the equation. All right, what's 2 times negative 3? Negative 6. Negative 6 minus 1 is negative 7. All right, are there any questions on that? Because that leads me into the last part of our notes. And now I'm going to have you guys write this. It's going to look weird. Okay, but if I explain what it means, you guys will be able to do this. I'm going to write f of x equals, and then I'm going to put a parenthesis, and I'm going to put 2 pieces. On top, I'm going to write 2x minus 1, and I'm going to write if x is less than negative 1. And I'll leave this up here for a couple minutes. I know you guys are catching up, but the bottom is going to be 2x plus 3 if x is greater than or equal to negative 1. All right, so this is an unusual looking problem, not like anything we've done before. It doesn't look like it. But here would be the question. It would say find f of negative 3. All right, here's what this means. This stuff on the right-hand side, that tells us where to plug it in. These are the equations we're going to plug into, but you only plug into one of them. So how do you know which one? You're either going to plug it into the top or you're going to plug it into the bottom, but not both. So you decide which one to plug it in by this stuff on the right. If we're going to plug in negative 3, I look over here and I say, well, is negative 3, is it less than negative 1? Or is it greater than or equal to negative 1? Well, negative 3 is less than negative 1. So that tells me I'm going to plug that into the top. So I'm plugging it into here. So I'm doing 2 times negative 3 minus 1, which comes out to be negative 7. That is, in fact, the exact same problem we just did. All right, so the point is, guys, if you can do this problem on top, and I think you guys can, then you can do the problem on the bottom as long as you know what the notation means. The notation just means you know, do I plug it into the top or bottom? Well, since -3 is less than -1, I plug it into the top. But given that if I wanted to find, let's say, f of 2, so now I got to figure out, is 2 less than -1 or greater than or equal to -1? Well, it's greater than or equal to. So that means I'm going to plug that into the bottom. I'm plugging it into here. So I'm going to do 2 times 2 plus 3. So that's 4 plus 3, which equals 7. All right, so does anybody have any questions yet? I have a question for you. If we wanted to find f of 5, to find f of 5, am I going to plug that into the top or the bottom? What do you think?
The bottom, because it's greater than -1.
Very good. Excellent. We are going to plug that into the bottom because it's greater than -1. So I'm going to do, I'm plugging 5 in for that x. So we're going to do 2 times 5 plus 3. Okay, I plug that into the bottom. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 3 would be 13, and 13 would be our answer. So just don't get freaked out by the crazy looks of the problem. Just figure out, are you plugging it into the top or the bottom? And then it's just like what we were doing. You're just plugging in those numbers and trying to evaluate and figure out what that number is. Okay?